This time, Dilireba completely won. Dilireba has changed. Dilireba, it's completely different. Dilireba, she is simply glowing. This time, Dilireba is more dazzling than any other red carpet appearance. This is the Silk Road season of the variety show Flowers and Boys. After the broadcast, netizens' comments about actor Dilireba were filled with praise and admiration for her. In fact, since the first episode of the season of this variety show was broadcast, it has been showing off in an alternative way. For example, viewers said that the guests this season get along very harmoniously. The atmosphere of the season focuses on relaxation and sincerity. Everyone speaks out what they have to say, and there are many contrasting images in this season. And Dilireba is the one who surprises everyone again and again. This time, the Huashao group is composed of 5 actresses including Kin Hailu, Kin Lan, Zins Hillary, Dilmirat Dilireba, and Xiao's Haoye, as well as 2 male actors Wang Aniu and Hu Xiangsu. At first, the tour guides were 2 boys. Because I don't know my sisters very well, I want to make their journey enjoyable enough, and I want to do my job well enough. The 2 boys put a lot of psychological pressure on themselves, especially Wang Aniu, who did everything himself and wanted to take care of everyone. But everything is too much, and the more he tries to take care of everyone's emotions, the easier it is to cause some avoidable misunderstandings, and he himself becomes even more internally conflicted. When Wang Aniu was dissatisfied with his various work results, he fell into deep self-blame. His sisters noticed his emotions and tried to enlighten him and let him relax, but he was always in a tight spot. Stretched state. It wasn't until Dilireba took advantage of the break and traveled to communicate with him very empathetically that he gradually let go of himself and tried to ask his sisters for their opinions, so that many things could be decided together by everyone. In fact, Wang Aniu's transformation is inseparable from Dilireba's persuasion by using his own personal experience as an example to put himself in his shoes and reverse roles. It was this interaction between Dilireba and Wang Aniu that made other guests in the audience discover that Dilireba herself was not as lively as the screen image. On the contrary, she is more reserved, shy, and even afraid of communicating with others. As Dilireba herself commented, she actually prefers to travel alone, because once she travels with others, all her focus may be on the other person's feelings. She is afraid that the person she wants to play with will not want to play with her, and she is worried that the person she does not want to play with will be interested in her. In short, he is the kind of person who puts other people's feelings before his own experience. In fact, the same is true for her various performances during the Huashao trip. For example, when she set out, she felt unwell, but in order not to delay the entire trip, she tried her best to stay in good condition. For example, while waiting for a flight, she wanted to take her temperature, but medical staff came with her, which made her feel like she was causing trouble to others. For example, when she arrived at her destination, she actually needed to rest more, but whether she was trying her best to move boxes or getting up early the next day to buy breakfast, she never complained. For example, from the first day of accommodation on the trip, she discovered that she didn't bring slippers. She would rather go barefoot the whole time than cause any trouble to other friends. For example, during the trip, in order not to waste everyone's time, she would leave her hair wet and leave without makeup, and she would feel guilty afterwards. It can be said that various performances have shown everyone a very cautious Dilireba. It wasn't until the 6th episode of the show, when a group of 7 people from the Huashao participated in a masquerade party on a cruise ship, that Dilireba impressed everyone with her dance and showed her bright enough self. In fact, as long as you have watched the show, you will know that from the beginning to the end of this event, Dilireba was still the one in the Huashao group who was not very willing to take the initiative. Off the stage, she was still the one who liked to hide behind her sisters and brothers. But after being arranged to go on stage by the host, and with the music, she completely let go. She danced gracefully, smiled touchingly, and was radiant. Her beauty seemed to be engraved in her bones and inspired by the music and the stage. She wore clothes from her hometown and danced dances from her hometown. She was free and easy. Her dance impressed many people present in an instant, and everyone couldn't help but join in. Just by watching the variety show clips, I can feel the happiness she brings to everyone through the screen, not to mention the feelings on the scene. And her outstanding performance not only impressed other people in the Huashao, but also gained the love of many international friends. Moreover, after the show was broadcast, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Wang Wenbin, also shared a video of Dilireba dancing on his social account and praised Dilireba for shining at that moment. This is the self-confidence of cultural culture. If you dare to show it generously, you will be recognized by everyone, you will gain a lot of love, and you will let your hometown culture go out. Moreover, it is not just dancing, right? When Reba uses fluent English to introduce her clothes and Chinese culture to international friends, her behavior has actually exceeded the meaning of entertainment. She really made everyone feel the charm of our flower grower. Therefore, everyone is praising that Dilireba seems to be born for the stage, because she has a slow personality, and is a completely different existence in the field she is good at and the stage she likes. Her generosity, her brightness, and her charm are really far beyond any of her on the red carpet. Again, just be yourself, don't care too much about other people's eyes, don't care too much about other people's evaluations, don't worry too much about whether you satisfy everyone. In fact, when you conscientiously be yourself, live freely, and show yourself openly, appreciators will come. In this variety show, Kinlan's performance is also remarkable. Judging from the past character creation, everyone will subconsciously feel that Kinlan should be the kind of gentle and intellectual. But her various performances in the variety show made everyone realize that Kinlan is good at making others laugh. She would laugh at herself about her husky voice and allow the program team to promote electronic Dora later. She will happily accept the combination of Xingang Qinyuan with Zinzili and Liwan Kuanglan with Dilireba. She will have no idle baggage at all, and will give very real reactions, without taking into account any existing characters. She will express her feelings and thoughts very truly, and her thoughts are not even shown on her face, but directly in her words. Only authenticity can really move people. The audience didn't dislike her because she didn't match their imagination, but they liked her more because she was real enough. Therefore, everyone's inherent impression of a person is always related to their own cognition, right? Because of some limited information, we thought Dilireba was as lively and playful as the character, but in fact she has a quieter side and a side that makes her confident because of what she is good at. Because of several characters in the play, we think Kinlan is the kind of gentle person, but in fact she seems to be more outgoing in life, but at the same time she is outgoing and has a thorough understanding of problems. Of course, there are also people in the Huashaotuan who have relatively consistent personalities from the characters to the actors themselves. For example, the eldest sister Qin Heilu, her previous role image made everyone think that she is the kind of person who has the overall situation in mind, and her performance in variety shows seems to be the same. She will stand up when her younger siblings are relatively embarrassed, or dare not express their true feelings. She was not so afraid of offending others and chose to express herself truthfully, and instead effectively solved many problems. But if we look at her behavior in front of her husband, we will find that she has the kind of character that is like a little bird. Therefore, no one has a single image, it's just that when faced with different things and on different occasions, everyone will show different sides of themselves. But whether it is Dilireba and Kinlan's image subversion or Qin Heilu's identical personality, we all feel the power of realness. When we throw the mask aside, the real, vivid, and less perfect image may be the one that is deeply rooted in people's hearts. It doesn't have to grow into a rose. If you like, you can be a jasmine, a daisy, a rose, a nameless flower, or thousands of your own. May we all live in a way that makes us feel comfortable.